Have you ever woken up and noticed your sheets were wet and had absolutely no idea what just happened? Or maybe you've heard the term wet dream tossed around at school in a joking way, and you're not totally sure what it actually means or whether it's something to worry about. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's going on in your body when this happens, and why it's one of the most normal things a person can experience. Let's dive in. Here's the thing. A wet dream, which doctors call a nocturnal emission, is when your body has an orgasm while you're asleep. For people with penises, that usually means ejaculating or releasing semen without ever touching yourself. For people with vulvas, it can mean having an orgasm and noticing vaginal wetness. It happens during a stage of sleep called REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. That's the stage where your brain is incredibly active and most of your dreaming happens. During REM sleep, your body's arousal systems can switch on all by themselves, sometimes paired with a dream about sex, and sometimes not. You might not remember dreaming about anything at all and still wake up to evidence that it happened. Now here's what's interesting. This isn't something you're doing wrong, and it's not something you can control. Your body is essentially running through its normal reproductive functions on autopilot while you sleep. Once someone goes through puberty, their body starts producing the hormones like testosterone that make this possible. That's the same wave of hormonal change that's giving you a deeper voice, more body hair, or new curves. A wet dream is just one more sign that your body is maturing exactly the way it's supposed to. Let's talk about who this actually happens to, because there's a pretty big myth out there. A lot of people assume wet dreams only happen to teenage boys, but that's not the full picture. They can happen to people of any gender, and they can continue well into adulthood, not just during the teen years. They also have nothing to do with how much or how little you masturbate. You don't need to be sexually active, and you don't need to be doing anything at all for your body to have this response. It's involuntary, which means there's no strategy to prevent it and no reason to try. I also want to address the awkward part because I know that's probably what brought you here. Waking up to a wet dream can feel embarrassing, especially if you share a room or if it happens somewhere unexpected like at a sleepover. Here's some real talk. This is one of the most universal experiences a maturing body goes through. It's not dirty, it's not shameful, and it's definitely not something people will judge you for if you handle it calmly. If it happens, the simple fix is just to change your sheets or clothes and go about your day. That's genuinely it. There's no deeper meaning, no health problem, and nothing broken. So how often does this happen? Honestly, it varies a lot from person to person. Some people experience wet dreams regularly during their teen years, and then less often as they get older or become sexually active. Others rarely or never experience them at all, and that's also completely normal. There isn't a correct frequency, so try not to compare yourself to friends or to what you've heard online. Everybody's body runs on its own timeline. Now, I do want to give you some honest signals for when to check in with a doctor, because being informed is part of taking care of yourself. If you notice pain during ejaculation, blood in the semen, or a sudden and unexplained change in a pattern you've had for a while, it's worth mentioning to a doctor or a trusted healthcare provider. These situations are uncommon, and they don't mean something is seriously wrong, but getting checked out is the responsible move whenever something feels off. On the flip side, if you're someone who's gone through puberty and has simply never had a wet dream, that's not something to stress about either. It doesn't say anything about your health or your masculinity or femininity. Bodies vary, and this is one of the many ways that shows up. If you're feeling awkward talking about any of this, you're really not alone. A lot of people find it easier to bring it up with a school nurse, a doctor, or even just search for reliable information instead of talking to a parent right away, and that's a completely valid way to learn. The goal isn't to make you comfortable discussing this with everyone. It's to make sure you actually understand what's happening in your own body, so it stops feeling like a mystery or a source of shame. So let's bring it all together. Wet dreams are your body's normal, involuntary response during REM sleep, tied to the same hormones driving the rest of puberty. They can happen to anyone at almost any age, and having them or not having them doesn't say anything about you as a person. The only real red flags are pain, blood, or sudden unexplained changes, and those are rare. If you found this helpful and want more videos that break down what's actually going on with your body during puberty, go ahead and subscribe. I'm here to answer the questions you might feel weird asking anyone else, because everyone deserves to understand their own body. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.